Welcome to this celebration of Barry Spendlove's life and his ongoing transmission, I think is an accurate way to describe it. And appreciate everyone who's come here today to enjoy or share in this celebration of Barry's life. And I know he's touched my heart deeply and the hearts of many, many other people. And it's my pleasure and deep joy to help memorialize and make this sharing available to the wider community of Barry lovers and the Taoist community in which he primarily operated. And of course, today is September 22nd. This is the exact date of the Fall Equinox in the year 2022. So September 22 and 2022, getting into some heavy numerology here, folks, hang on. That two is a yin number. One is the prime yang number, and then two is the prime yin number. So yin is about receptivity. And I think that's appropriate. We're here in celebrating Barry's life. He definitely had, I would call him a master of yin. And it was one of his wonderful traits. But I just want to make a couple of comments about the doing this on the fall equinox, why we chose this date. Well, one, it's a powerful date in the Taoist and in many traditions, calendar, balance of yin and yang, night and day, completely equal. And esoterically, the real power, though, is that when you have the balance of night and day and of yin and yang forces, then the third force, the yuan qi, I call it the neutral force, it opens up a portal and that becomes more accessible to whatever you choose to do with it. So that's why I always do ceremonies at equinoxes and solstices. Solstices are a little different. They're not equal night and day. They're the extremes, turnaround points, but there's also neutral point, neutral energy during the turnaround from 6 months of yin and 6 months of yang. It's also appropriate that we're celebrating this because for me personally, Barry organized 7 years of retreats in England and Ireland with me. And for at least six of those years, we would rent Stonehenge on the fall equinox. And that was one of his brilliant ideas. I'm so grateful to him. And it was such a powerful experience for me. And because we would go in and do the primordial Tai Chi or Qigong or Wu Qigong, whichever name you choose to use. And it would just light up, the whole place would just start vibrating in the astral, and you could just feel the presence of all the 6,000 years of ceremony that had been performed there. And it was like a chorus and echoing and emanating and amplifying our own ceremony. And so this is a powerful time and very much linked in to my experience with Barry, and I know many others who were at those ceremonies. And it's the perfect time to create a special deep alignment with Barry as well, because the more neutral force that we have, the easier it is to cross the dimensional boundaries between the physical, dense physical plane, higher astral, causal planes. And I will be doing a guided meditation later on to connect with Barry that will be taking advantage of this open portal. So I just finished doing a round of primordial Tai Chi, Qigong, focused on loving Barry and feeling his love back from where he is now. And so I'm really feeling great and tuned in. And I'm sure that we're going to have a really deep, open heart sharing here and chance to experience some of his incredible music and his songs. And so it's going to be quite wonderful. Um, I just wanted to share a few other observations about Barry. I looked again at his Chinese astrology chart, and I hadn't looked at it in years and years and years, so I couldn't remember it. But yeah, he had his sun and moon were in the first sign of the Chinese 12 animal zodiac, which is the rat. So being the first sign, the rat is considered to be one of the top 3 power animals. It's the rat, the monkey, and the dragon are the top 3. So he's a double rat, okay? And the rat in China is honored. It's not like the rat in the West where they think it's like, something, dirty. But it's considered to be one of these really powerful, and feet on the ground, paws on the ground, very, like grounding, which Barry was for many people. He was a teacher to help people ground. And I think that's part of his rat nature, the double rat nature. I have in my chart double monkey. So I think that we made a great team playing together, 2 monkeys and 2 rats. He, in his, what's called his day stem, which is it's like the rising sign in the Western chart, is what controls your personality. The personality in a Chinese chart is considered actually to be as powerful, maybe more powerful than the sun, which would be like the soul, okay? So in Barry's personality, his day stem is a yin earth snake. And a snake is basically a baby dragon. And it's considered to be a fire animal, like a fire within the earth. And the way I understand snakes is that basically they are dragons, but instead of putting that energy out in the world to rule, and it's kind of like dragons are kind of like Leos, they have to put it all out there. Barry put all that fire and that earth energy inside for spiritual exploration and for creativity. The rat's also very creative. It's the initiator of new projects and new things because it's the beginning of the whole zodiac. Barry was tremendously creative, okay? He had so many different talents and things and, ways of interacting with different people. So I feel that he really got completion, and lived out his constitution. And then, of course, with the inner alchemy practices that he became so adept at, you move beyond even your chart. You move to the larger cosmos and the cosmic energy body. But I think it's interesting just to, to observe and look at his chart and see that as an influence in his life and who he knew just as a personality. So we're going to start off just as an overview here. We're going to have a song by Jimmy Brennan. And I just want to say that Jimmy, this Zoom event was his idea. I'm so grateful to him. I think it's such a brilliant idea. And he's known Barry for decades as a fellow musician. And so he is going to share with us one of his favorite songs. It's an oldie, he says, that about are you wearing your inner smile? So I am inviting Jimmy to also share a little bit about his life with Barry and his intimate connections with him, and then share that song with us, which he's playing on Barry's guitar. Okay, so we got the Barry vibe going here. Okay, Jimmy, you're on.
Okay, thanks, Michael. Beautiful introduction. Thank you. Yeah, what do you say about Barry? So much to say. I met Barry when I was 14, which is at least 3 years ago now. And he was, 25 years ago. Barry's just been, one of the most important, I'll say, characters in my life, not even person, because he, represented so much. He's more of an archetype, I'd say, or was, and still is in my life. I was, you know, looking for a teacher, looking for, you know, what's all this stuff going on. I found out about this stuff and reached out to a lot of people, and the only one that really got back to me in any substantial way was Barry. And he said, I'm coming to Ireland. I said, great, met up with him, and that was it, you know. I was hooked from then on, and that led to, you know, traveling back and over, just great memories of being in Wales. I mean, I even took up camp and lived there for a short time at one stage. And then, of course, that led to meeting Michael and doing those just fantastic Canon Lee retreats in Glastonbury and other places. And yeah, it's been great. And we played, Barry, you know, got into writing songs, and this one I'm going to do now, we recorded this together. I don't know, you know, when it was, a long time ago. Mick, I think you might have been on this one as well. I played harmonica on this, in the recording. I've only just kind of scrambled it together. There's a lot of words in it, but when I went to see Barry, whenever it was, about a month ago, you know, he kind of put me on the spot and he said, play me something. I said, oh, here we go. He handed me this guitar, and I just, you know, I was kind of, you know, caught up in the emotion of the moment and nervous, but I started going. And he recognized it as his song, you know, and he just started crying when I did. And of course that set me off as well, and it was just a really beautiful moment. We're both just crying, and then we start singing, and it was lovely, really lovely. So I thought that was the one to do today. I messed it up on that day, but I'll try my best to do it right now, okay? Bear with me. You're never fully blessed, you're never fully dressed, you're always out of style, unless you wear a smile that reaches over, gets you off your comfy seat, dances to the heart-steady beat, inner smile to make you complete. Fully dressed, you're always feeling stressed, you're shattered after a mile, unless you wear a smile that lights up infinite space, deep in the body but seen in the face, a smile that flows from deep within and lights up your face with a beaming grin. I love my heart loves me. I kiss my heart kiss me. I hug my heart hugs me. I am my heart is me. I love my spleen, I love my lungs, I love my kidneys and my liver and my tongue. I love my Jing, I love my Chi, I love my Shen, they all love me. I love my body, I love my souls, my Shen, my Zhi, my Yi, my Hungs and my Pos. I love my lymph, I love my blood, I love my body when it's feeling good. I love my thoughts, I love my feelings, I love my doings and my wheelings and my dealings. I love the sun, I love the moon, I love March, April, May and June. I love my love loves me, my love loves you, love's love is true. there you go.
Wow. I had tears coming out of my eyes there, Jimmy. You touched
Thank you.
that one. Wow. It's
I will now hand you over to Inga, who is wonderful and who is going to get anyone who wants to share in one by one. Thanks, guys.
Was it me? I thought it was Michael. Michael?
Sorry,
Right.
Michael.
No problem. Michael, who was the first one? It was Sonia, but she's sick, huh? So who's the second one?
Yes.
Yeah, I had to look at my telephone. We changed it last minute.
it's Julian.
That's not very handy. Find it. Right. So who was the first one? Julian. Yeah, Julian, I forgot it was you.
Hey Inga, hey everyone. Is it 1 minute we have?
Three.
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 Wow.
Everything between 1 and 3.
Lovely. So lovely to hear you play Barry's song, Jimmy. I also had leaky eyes and an inner smile. So I heard so much about Jimmy, actually. I got to know Barry in 2006, 2005 or 6. And I met another participant here who's renamed themselves. She was Odette back then. Hello. And she also stayed. I was with my girlfriend. We stayed like the whole summer doing all of Barry's courses. I couldn't leave. I kept planning to, I'll stay for the next one and then I'll go home. And then he gave me this big smile and told me what the next one was after the next one. And I kept staying. So some photos from that summer in the slideshow that Inga put together and I helped her with. And Barry called it the tropical summer, Welsh tropical summer. We went to Talybont, to the Green Valley, all the 7-star chapel, beautiful places that Barry knew. Was one of the most magical years of my life. So grateful. And beyond that, meeting Michael, as Jimmy shared himself. But I never got to meet Jimmy. I never got to meet you, Jimmy. So I'm meeting you now and hearing you play. Beautiful. Yeah, and Barry's been very present with me recently and inspired me to bring more Tao to the work that I do in somatics. And I went to the forest a few weeks ago with a couple doing coaching, and we bridged the inner and outer elements, and Barry was so present. It was just like, okay, you know, those that were touched by him have a responsibility, a beautiful responsibility to bring that through and merge it with our own essence and how we share things. But yeah, Barry also for me is more of a character, an archetype, and a personal friend, teacher, lifelong since 2006 to now. So it's so wonderful to be here with everybody, and love you, Barry. Love you all. That's me. Thank you, Inga. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you so much. Lisa, would you like to share?
Hi. Thank you for organizing this, Inga and Michael, and everyone else who's here and who's contributing. I haven't planned what to say because I didn't realize I was in the list to share until earlier today. I'm just thinking of all the times I've spent with Barry in Wales, and again visiting all of the places like the Star Well and the bridge under the bridge, and all the different places that we went, Green Valley, where we went after Barry's funeral. I can tell you a little story about Sananga. I don't know if anyone else has tried Sananga. I was at Barry's one time, and I would say my eyes were really sore and itchy and puffy, and he said, I've got this stuff that's called Sananga. It's really good for your eyes. And I was like, okay. And he said, well, maybe it feels like 1,000 needles being stuck in your eye at the same time. And I was like, I'm not sure about that. And he said, well, I'll try it first, and then you can see how it is for me, and then you can decide if you want to try it. So he lay on his sofa and he held it and he said, you know, have the intention for healing for your eyes. And then he dropped one drop in each eye. And then he started screaming and like kicking his legs on the sofa like this and going, ah! and that lasted, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds, maybe slightly less. And then he was like, he sat up and he was like, okay, what do you think? And I was like, okay, I'll give it a go then. So so I did, and yeah, it really really stung. And I've been thinking about buying some more recently. I got some at the time, and I used it when I came home, and it cleared my eyes up really well. And I've actually just some arrived. I bought some more, and it arrived yesterday. So I haven't used it yet, but when I do, I'll be thinking of Barry, and yeah, feeling that connection with him. He also came up to Newcastle, where I live, and taught a course, and he encouraged me to teach. And I just started teaching a couple of weeks ago. I just started teaching a regular class. So thank you, Barry. Thank you for the encouragement. And yeah, it's always really good to come to Wales and train with Barry. Yeah, I did a dark room just before COVID hit. I did a dark room with him, and yeah, really kind of feeling like, oh yeah, I'm sorry I can't do that dark room with him again, because it was amazing. It was a really powerful experience, really beautiful experience. Yeah, I saw him last year. I visited him in the summer, and we kind of hung out a while, and he tested my iron shirt structure to make sure I got it, and sat and watched the cricket with him as well. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. Stuart, you were next on Michael's list. Stuart there? I don't know, Stuart, do I? Sorry, Stuart? No. Wait a second.
Go to the next one.
Yeah.
So maybe he's
Yeah.
make it.
As you know, I just Jeanne. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Janneke, I guess. Because I had a mail from her that she couldn't get in. Is she in now? No, she couldn't get in apparently. And it's Colin. Colin? From you, I know you there. Ah, Jean, there are you, Jean. Ah, wait, Colin, Jean is there. Jean, you have to unmute. I can unmute you, maybe. I can invite you to unmute. Left under. Jean? Ah, there you are.
Is it me?
No, it's Jean. I didn't hear her, and I was looking at the list, so I
Okay,
couldn't see
okay.
she was giving a sign. So, hi, Jean. Then, Colin, can you come after
Okay.
Jean? Do you mind?
I'm Jeannie.
All yours, Jean.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't sure it was my go. I really want to honour and celebrate Barry along with all of you. And what I really resonated with and loved and still love was his really deep devotion and respect for nature. and how it constantly changes with the cycles of the year and the moon and the planets. And all suffused with the idiosyncrasies of the weather. And all of that was echoed in the temple of the body, really. And I suppose I really share that devotion as well to the body, the earth and the stars. I also loved his fantastic creativity, and how dedicated he was to sharing his wisdom in all sorts of different ways. And he was so generous with his teachings and his time. And I really loved the personalized resources that he gave out after all the courses. And I mean, I found particularly useful all the things he shared and the videos, apart from the face-to-face teaching, on the iron shirt angle of the work, in that I often found my body felt quite challenged by the structures. So it was great having the resources. So I loved visiting all the places and practicing in nature, in the Welsh landscape. But in 2013, I invited Barry to come down to Cornwall in the UK, which is another really rich Celtic landscape. So I knew it would just be great for him to, you know, share a course with us in this setting. So I lived in a quite small hamlet that had no public transport. And a few days before he was meant to come down, he told me that he'd broken his leg and that he couldn't drive. So I sort of half expected that he might cancel the workshop, but he was completely undeterred. He actually came down from Wales to Cornwall on the train. And that's not just an A to B journey. It involved lots of changes en route. And, you know, we went to lots of the sacred sites on Bodmin Moor and the coast near Tintagel, and they're really powerful places. And I was just so amused and amazed that he was jumping from rock to rock like a little frisky mountain goat, you know, even though he'd got a broken leg. So, and it was always with that characteristic smile on his face. So, yeah, thank you, Barry. I really know he's continuing his journey, lighting up the skies, smiling into the earth energies and singing to the dragons. I really love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Colin, would you be the next one? Will you be happy to be the next one?
I'll unmute here, yeah?
Perfect.
Hi. I didn't know I was going to talk on, but sorry, pick which one. Thank you, Jimmy and Michael and Inga, for organising this. I was planning on going to the funeral, and this is an opportunity to kind of express some of the grief and to connect in with the energy of Barry. And I could really feel him coming through, Michael, when you began to speak, and Jimmy when you were doing the song. And he was saying, "Get up and dance, you bastard." You know, I could feel the music, and my body was in the chair, but I could feel the impulse wanting to, you know, dance and shake around. So maybe we could do that before we all finish, close it off or something. But the one of the most memorable times I had with Barry was Jimmy brought him to Ireland, and we started going back and over to Wales. And I used to work in London, and I'd stop off at Barry for a day, pack in some qigong, and we do ginger compress, visits in nature, meditation for, and it was around the time of the tsunami in. There was a big tsunami around 2004. And everyone was on the news talking about it. And Barry was explaining to me, everyone's talking about the people and nobody's talking about the earth. So we had a beer or two, maybe three, and an Indian. And we done a meditation. He said, we'll do a and this meditation went on for 3 hours. We would doze off to sleep for 10 minutes here and there and back in, and he would keep going. And at one point during it, he brought in the sun and the moon, and it was one of the strongest energy experiences I ever had, this burning of the deeper core channels with the sun. And we were almost asleep, and it's incredible intensity of it. And we eventually finished, and Barry, all he said to me, "Did you feel the sun?" I was like, "Yeah, I felt it." So lots and lots of good memories, and just a really beautiful person to have known. And the enthusiasm and kindness he showed to us when we went to Wales was very profound. And he would come back from Glastonbury or visiting you, Michael, or Dirk, and he'd be so excited. He'd show us some new little practice that he would have, you know, he'd be so excited to show us these new breathing or technique or, you know, body work. And he was so happy to share it with us, you know. And I think the combination of beer and takeaway and just the whole, not big drinking, but these Belgian beers that we all got to experience was just, it was just very memorable. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the meditation and connecting in. So thank you. That's all I have to say right now. Yeah.
All right, Colin. Thank you so much for sharing. Great. What I'm gonna do, Michael, I continue just reading the little list you've sent me. Although I don't see the people, like the next one on your list is Odette. You're Odette. Great. Odette.
Hi, sorry, yeah, my screen name is different. Hi, everyone. Yeah, thank you so much for organizing this. It's amazing. So yeah, as Julian said, I met Barry the same year as Julian, about 15 years ago. But before the tropical Welsh summer, I did 2 weeks on my own with Barry for like an apprenticeship, he called it. And it was, you know, Taoist internal alchemy. It was amazing. So, you know, 2 full weeks with Barry, it was really, really impressive. So, you know, the first thing I was impressed about, it was he actually was a proper modern life Taoist. He was living and doing everyday life according to Taoism. Everything he was doing, he was incorporating, you know, everything that he actually was teaching. So it was amazing to see that, even, you know, while doing the dishes or cooking or at the pub, you know, everything was Taoism. So that was very amazing for me to see someone who brought that into their everyday lives rather than just books or seminars or, you know, workshops. And of course, you know, I like everyone else is saying, his generous sharing of the special places in Wales, going to the caves, going to the rivers, to the Green Valley to do the meditations there. You know, I couldn't ask for more. It was amazing. But I would like to share a very a little bit of a funny story that I had to kind of show his fun and eccentric personality. I remember one morning, instead of doing our early morning primordial Qigong practice, he suddenly comes and tells me quickly, Odette, can you please help me quickly to clean the house, because I need the house to be presentable, because there's a lady coming and she wants to have some sessions with me, but she's very conservative, and she heard that I'm a little bit eccentric. So I want to give a good impression to her. So yeah, I thought, of course, you know, let's do it. So here we are cleaning the house, but we both love Led Zeppelin, so we were playing Led Zeppelin really loud, you know, not caring about the neighbors or anyone else, just really loud Led Zeppelin, singing, dancing, and at the same time practicing Qigong movements, you know, that we learned previously. So everything, it was incorporated. So here we are doing, I think it was the Dancing Dragon Qigong with one of the songs. And suddenly I look at Barry and he is frozen and he stops singing and he's frozen into this weird Qigong position, the dragon dancing with the broom in his hand, and he's looking at the door in his living room. And I turn around and who I see, this lady. This lady came early to change her appointment, and you know, of course, obviously she just left. You know, she had a horrified face and she didn't even say anything, she just left. So he couldn't clean his eccentric personality, and you know, but that's how he was. You know, you didn't want him to be different. He was amazing. So yeah, the only thing I want to say, you know, is that it was an honor to meet him, you know, and knowing him, it actually made me a better person. And every time I listen to Led Zeppelin, I remember him. Actually, I think it was around the time that he passed. I didn't know. And I just suddenly had an urge to listen to Led Zeppelin and to remember him. And I was kind of redoing what we were doing at that time, you know, cleaning and listening, and his presence was so strong in my room. And then a few days after, I heard that you know, he passed. So yeah, thank you, Barry, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Odette, for the beautiful story. I really can see it happening. I have a clear picture of it. Thank you so much. The next person on Michael's list is Ella. I don't know how to pronounce it in English, but I don't know who it is.
Yeah,
I see you.
Ali.
I see you. How do I pronounce your name?
Ali. It's
Ali.
Alistair, but people call me Ali.
Hi,
And
Ali.
it's not. Yeah, it's something like 15 years since I last saw Barry. It's the Glastonbury retreats we all went on, and like you, Michael, I just loved going inside Stonehenge, and we must have gone in 3 or 4 times in different years. And it was even one year Barry couldn't make it to the Stonehenge, so he gave me his English heritage membership details, and a group of us went along, and we got in just on Barry's name inside the henge. It was amazing. But I don't know if you remember, Michael, that 19 years ago today, we were actually in Cornwall, and we couldn't get Glastonbury Abbey for the retreat because someone else had it, or there was something else going on in Glastonbury. So we ended up in Cornwall, and Barry took us to this stone circle on the autumn equinox, and this circle was like in the middle of nowhere, and it was raining and it was cold and it was all foggy, and you had to climb through all this gorse and stuff, and eventually we got to this circle that you couldn't see from anywhere. It was like down in a trough or something, and the energy was just incredible. At the beginning, it felt like the circle didn't want us there, and it made all the elements attack us as we were trying to get to it. But once we got to the circle, it just opened up, and we performed the equinox ceremony, the Taoist equinox ceremony, and I made a wish during the ceremony, and exactly a week later that wish came true. But I didn't even realize, because I was at work and I was doing other things, and I'd completely forgotten about being inside that stone circle till a few weeks later. And I'm thinking, well, the wish came true, didn't it? And it was, I'll never forget Barry for taking me around these stone circles and feeling the energy on these really powerful places. Thank you. I missed you. Thanks.
Thank you, Alan.
Yeah.
Alan. Thank you very much. All these memories and energies. You have some more to come, Ian.
Hello. Yes, like Ali, I've had a lot of practice of remembering Barry, because it must be at least 15 years since I last saw him. I moved abroad, and for a while he sent me his newsletters to proofread, and I got less and less interested in correcting his English, because the newsletters were always just fine as they were. So there was no use in that anymore, and we drifted out of communicating, which I've been quietly regretting for a long time. But what I've been remembering about Barry all these years, more than anything else, is just his voice. Tone of joyful anticipation that you would love what he was going to love saying it, and he would love getting your reaction to it. And I can, it's so strange, I can hear his voice. I can't hear him saying any words, but I can feel that I can hear his voice. I don't know if that makes sense, but and just the sheer amount of pleasure he got from things and from life was encapsulated in that voice for me. And I at this point, I don't really remember Barry for practices or energy things or the places we went. There are lots of little funny moments, but I just remember that he was such a sweetie. And you know, it's you'd go to see him as much just to be with Barry because he was such a sweetie as to do whatever practice it happened to be at that time. And I'm so sorry I didn't get back in touch with him, because I kept meaning to, and life and children and dogs and everything just kept being there. And the moment of peace when you sort of say, I know I'm going to do all those things and talk to all those people I don't talk to, just never came. And I'm so sorry about that. And it's lovely to have a chance to say so. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have one person left on the list, the Safrul.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, Inga and Michael, for organising this call. It's a joy to share our memories of Barry. What can we say about Barry which hasn't been said before? I could say that he was a friend, a teacher, somebody I used to laugh with. I'm from Wales as well. I may not sound it. Barry used to joke all the time, saying, "You sound so English." I said, "So do you, Barry." Neither of us could speak Welsh, despite being born in Wales. I moved away as a child. I would describe Barry as a Taoist sage. It's the only way to describe him. And he's, out of all the Taoist instructors I've met, and I've met many, including Michael and Master Chia and Andy as well, Barry was unique in the sense that he was totally and utterly connected to nature. I've never met anyone so connected to nature in my lifetime. And I actually think he outgrew definitely the healing Tao practices and possibly even Taoism. He just allowed nature to teach him. And that's what made him unique and special. I mean, I remember communing with him in nature, visiting caves, waterfalls, the oldest tree in Wales, discussing cricket. I'm a cricket fan, he's a cricket fan. We would always argue. I would say, look, England aren't so bad. He says, oh, they're going to be destroyed by Australia. He was right, but only in Australia. He was a fantastic human being. And he was the first teacher that taught me about structure. And I'm still struggling with structure, but I learned so much from Barry. And it was, you know, he was so humble as well. I met him first in Glastonbury with Michael when they were teaching star stepping Qigong. And Barry was just giving me some simple corrections. And I just thought he was a genius. I thought, wow, this guy is so humble. He showed me so much. And since then I was his student and a friend. And just to share one more thing, which shows an example of how funny Barry was and how human he was. He told me about one of his first darkroom he ran. And, you know, he had his food delivered. It was totally dark. And it was his first, and he did darkroom in winter. No, summer, that was it, sorry. And what he didn't realize was obviously it's best to do darkroom in communing in conjunction with nature. So in winter. So he does it in summer. And then obviously he breaks the darkroom and he comes out. And the first thing that happens, he walks into blazing sunlight and he gets glaucoma. He has to call a 999 emergency. Imagine that call. Imagine trying to describe that. Taoist darkroom to the Welsh emergency service. That was just typical Barry. Losing his car keys, what a joy. It was amazing. It was a joy to know him. It was fun. It was amazing. And it will be amazing to see how we all progress, having had Barry in our lives and become better people. So thank you for that. And thank you, Barry.
Inga?
Yes?
I think
Susan?
I'm on your, it's Susan. I'm on your list.
You're welcome. Have a go.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I think this was a Barry trick to have me have to speak up and include myself because I've always been very self-conscious. This is my first on-camera meeting.
Whoa.
And thanks, Barry. Yes, I did find the unmute. And I tell you, he only being charmed by that Welshman would get me to come on camera and pay my respects. I just have a couple of things, and I thank all of you. You brought back even more memories of Barry, and my I thank you for adding to my collection of memories. But he and I shared such a love of our dogs, our doggies. And I know my Wooly must have been a Tao master. He really helped get me into the Tao. I would never have found the Tao without Wooly. And Barry would talk to me. We would share about his George. I know he had another dog, but all of you have said things today that remind me, yes, I had that little piece maybe, like about the dogs and being in Odette, making it practical on Earth. You know, the dog wasn't just a prop, it was just canine love. And we shared our fun stories together. So I know my Wooly monster, after I heard Barry had passed, I connected with Wooly and I said, go get Barry, go get him and George. And I hope my independent doggy got Barry over there. I met Barry after September 11th, 2001. And that was quite a disorienting, scary plane trip across the Atlantic. I'm wearing pink because the new Brit friends that I made over there, including Barry, would send me pink energy across the ocean. And that's very important to me even now, as we celebrate here every year. But what was interesting is we were taking a break through Michael. I would never have met Barry without you. So thank you for that first Fall Equinox. And it was late morning. We're going to take a lunch break, do a very strong meditation. But about 5 minutes before the lunch break, I started shaking and trembling. And that had never happened to me before. So I spent, I don't know how you closed that morning session, but I was just trying to hold on. I didn't know what to do. And Barry noticed and came over. I felt shaking so strongly I was going to launch. And he just, speaking of his earth energy, he just grounded me and held me. And I'm like, wah, 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 you know. And he said a few things and then it stopped. And of course, I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I don't give a rat's ass, if I may say that, about the spiritual. I'm humiliated. I'm self-conscious. I'm shaking in front of people and I'm not at home. And he just, hang on, there's a little more to come. And then another rush came over, wah, wah, wah. And he told me some things, his perspective on what was happening. His kindness in not making me feel self-conscious, he took it away. He didn't act like I was some freak. He just accepted what was going on, just so kind. And I was never self-conscious after that around Barry. Too many people are self-conscious or anxious. And I just always felt like, you know, whether it was the dog energy, just being playful, being unself-conscious, I could sing in front of him. He encouraged me. About a month ago, I don't know why, now maybe because of his passing, I was singing to one of his favorite American Taoist songs, Night and Day by Cole Porter. I'll sing that again, maybe, Barry. I'm not self-conscious. I salute you, Inga. You were brilliant today. I'm not ready for that yet. On camera singing. But anyway, between the 9/11 and the dogs and so many other things, the singing, only that charming Welshman could again get me to be on camera to say something so personal and to see all of you and feel strong enough to remember Boscawen Alley. That was in Cornwall. Barry took my picture there without me knowing it because he knew I would have said no. And it's been on my business materials. I have one picture of my teaching. And Ali, Ian, anyone else here who was there. Those things made such a difference in human life. I know the spiritual is great, but he just made such a difference to me in living practically, putting these teachings to use, to be kind, to care about the animals and earth, to shake like a rag doll and not give a damn who's watching. Maybe I'll shake again if we do that dance. I forget which one of you lovelies said, let's shake it out. But, you know, I can shake with you guys. Anyway, thank you for letting me unmute and share and be here. Go Barry.
Thank you, Susan. Thanks for speaking up and taking space. So Michael,
Well, let's see if we have any people who are watching and now spontaneously would like to share something. Just some people didn't sign up in advance, and let's just make that available to them. Why don't you just check and see that? They can raise their hand or whatever, or something in the chat.
Mick, you want to come first? Great. You have to unmute left under, Mick. There was a little symbol of a mic, and then Sarah. Then you can take over.
I just felt like as I'm in this beautiful gathering of Barry lovers, I just wanted to play a little part and say I really loved him, and he was a real brother to me. And yeah, it was amazing. My last memory of him is, you know, saying goodbye to him in his bed, and knowing that he's going to be leaving really any day soon. And I have tears in my eyes, and he's like looking radiant, like he was sort of ready for the journey, you know. And it was quite a contrast. You know, I suppose he'd had time to get his head around it, but he certainly was ready for the journey, you know. And so I just said, fly free, dear brother. And off I went, leaving him. And it was quite a very deep moment. I don't think I ever said goodbye to somebody with that much finality, you know. It was very beautiful. But I'll never forget how much more centered he was than I was, you know. You'd think, yeah, could be the other way around. But anyway, he was a real brother, and we have so many adventures and staying over here in Ireland. I just thought it was one funny moment I'd like to share was one day we were out for lunch with, I have 3 daughters, and one of them, I guess, was around 14 at the time. We were having lunch out in a restaurant somewhere, and we're just talking about stuff. And Lucy always used to say, Dad, you have some fucking weird mates, you know, because they're just, she's just typical little teenager, you know, into boy bands and whatever. And all of a sudden, Barry said to Lucy, do you know what, Lucy, I really think you should massage your breasts every morning. And Lucy goes, what? It's like nobody in their whole life had even mentioned that she had breasts at that stage, let alone being advised to massage them. So that was convinced her even more, like, Dad, your mates are fucking weird, you know. And many stories I could tell, but anyway, I just wanted to say something funny like that. But you know, I have lots of friends, but I have a few brothers, and Barry was one of them. So I was very privileged to be there near the end. I was also very privileged to be part of buying Jimmy's Loudon. We were, Barry came over to buy that guitar with a bag of money, like 3,000 or 4,000. And because he knew that I knew places where you could get decent guitars in Dublin. And so we were playing this guitar in this guitar shop, and he had his shoulder bag and put it down playing the guitar. And all of a sudden, he stops and he sees this guy walking out with the bag. And it's like, stop. And so this whole scene happened. And the guy said, stop, well, what is it? And he had, it wasn't his bag, but there were 2 bags that were completely identical. I mean, uncannily identical in wear and tear and make and color and everything. And this guy had just picked up his own bag, but he could have easily picked up Barry's, and it had like 3 or 4 grand in it, you know. So we often remember, like, that was close. I mean, the guy could have easily just walked off with it, you know. And then we went off to a concert, I think it was a Brian Ferry concert or something, and the guitar was in the back of the car, but all the time he just couldn't wait to get back home and get the guitar out, you know, and play it in the kitchen. And anyway, Jimmy, I still have the receipt for that guitar if you ever need it. So good to be in this beautiful gathering. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mick. Thank you very much. Sarah, you wanted to share as well, didn't you?
Hey everybody, so lovely to see some faces I know and to meet some faces I've heard so much about as well. Yeah, Barry's just genuinely one of the greatest treasures in my life. And I just was reflecting on how present he is in my life, even before he passed in so many ways, how many gifts. From my Qigong practice, just to my love of porridge every morning, which we shared, and all the various porridge concoctions we'd cook. And today we're moving house tomorrow morning, and I picked up a Buddha, and the body fell off the Buddha and smashed on the floor, and I was left with this head, and was just laughing. Just Barry came to my thoughts because I was overthinking at the time, and he always had the Buddhas that were broken in the garden and would say, you know, this is what happens if you think too much, and they've all got their heads taken off so they don't think so much. And and you know, he's taught me just touch my life in just so many wonderful ways, and even sharing with people who have never met him and sharing what he's meant to me and how that ripples out, and that love and that way, how he lived and how he lived. And I was remembering a story as you were sharing all your stories, and there was a workshop at Wales, and we'd got up early in the morning, and there was just two of us there, Barry and someone else and me. We were pottering around, and we were like, something's a bit different. Oh, the window's open, and we potter around a bit more and a bit more and a bit more. And we go to take the bin out and do all of that, come back into the kitchen. And it was about an hour later, we're like, Barry, your car's gone. And his car was robbed overnight. Someone had come, they'd somehow got in, taken his keys through the window and robbed his car. And obviously he was really, that was really upsetting when he lost his car. But he just went with the flow of it. And then about a week later, he phones me and he gets this new car, and it was his Dow car, because he found this car with the number plate which was DAO Dow 55. And obviously he lived on the A55 in Wales, and how this car turned up, which was just his, couldn't have been anyone else's car in the whole world. It was meant for him as the Taoist on the A55 in Wales. And just that going with the flow of life. And so, yeah, just sharing that presence, and I've had so many beautiful moments since he passed, dancing with him at 5 Rhythms, and just like dancing in joy, like he was just there in the room with me, just dancing and dancing. And the night he passed, just waking up, and I was having a hug with him, and I just knew he'd gone and passed over. And so yeah, I just want to share my just absolute love of that man, and all that he's created, and all that he's shared in his life, and all that he's, the healings and the inspiration and the love. And I'm just so very grateful, and thank you so much. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Sarah. Hilda, you want to share? You can unmute yourself. Left on right now.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I recognize so many of the stories, and but what just popped up in my mind was also to to show or name the gratefulness of all what he brought to the Tao instructors or teachers in Belgium. I remember between 10 and 15 years ago, he came many, many times, and he was teaching like in almost every center of one of the Tao teachers in Belgium, and how much he was a big inspiration for us and for myself, of course. When I just started teaching, I mean, he was such a support in showing me how to bring these teachings in a very simple way. And what touched me also is that even people that saw him once are still talking about him, that they say just being one time in a class with him has changed my life or has given me something extra to my life. So his unconditional presence was very unique. Yeah, also what was very striking is that now, since Corona, I mean, there was a long time nobody in Belgium saw him. And then I dreamt one night that I was going back to Wales somehow, and I met many of my colleagues in that dream. Oh, and I was like, you're also going to Barry? You too? It's like from different corners we were coming together, and suddenly behind the rock, Barry was waving, and I waved back like, hi, Barry, long time ago. And I had to jump from very high to go there, to go back to his place. And yeah, that was like funny that the next day, Karin sent me a message that he was not well and that he would die soon. So it struck me that just the day after this dream, I got this message, and it was like we were gathering and saying goodbye to Barry. So yeah, I just wanted to share that, contribute that. Thank you, everybody, for your sharings.
Thank you, Hilda. Thank you for sharing. Somebody wants to share? No. Oh, great. Thank you so much, all of you.
Maybe your turn, Inga.
I don't know if I can. I was not crying. I mean, just like, it's just too much, all of it. In the beginning of the sharing was okay, and towards the end I'm kind of, oh no, it's too much. I can't anymore, I'm full. And as many of you said, it's so recognizable. It's I mean, like, it's so recognizable. It's such a lively picture that came together like a mosaic, like when you put it on gallery view, like the gallery view of Barry, his personality and his soul and his who he was and is. So yeah, there are many things I could share, but I think what I really would like to share is that when I was with him in the process, when he was passing on, there came this offering of one of the healers, Tao teachers, to kind of have a quantic technique applied on him to heal him. And she asked if he had some questions for her, so she could kind of instruct the quantic thing to help him for healing. And he was too weak. He was really too weak to kind of really think of it and get his mind together and kind of decide on this. But one given moment, he said, "Okay, I'm ready for the questions. Can you give me a hand to compile the questions that we could ask to this quantic machine to heal?" And then the first thing he came with was like he wanted his team of Shen to work together as a team, to unify as a team, to Yeah, that would be like to be in unconditional love. That would be his question. His first one. And then the second one, he suddenly was kind of thinking, or something came into his being, and he said like, oh, but wait a minute. I first should ask them something else. I should ask them if they want to unify as a team, to help me passing on or to be healed. And he said, I have to go in for this. It can take a while. And he closed his eyes and he was still for a while. And after 10 minutes or so, I asked him, Barry, do you have an answer? And he said, yes, they are willing to work together as a team in order to help me pass on an unconditional love. And I said, okay. Yeah. And even before that, I think maybe the day before, 2 days before, I was sitting next to him and I saw like, it was like his soul was pulling out of his body. I was sitting there and I saw like, this is not normal. Like it's kind of, it was so fast. It went so fast. And it was like his soul was really pulled out of his body. And it felt to me like he's kind of being called. He's being called for an assignment or for something more important. He's kind of really, really called away quickly as kind of an emergency exit thing. But I have the tendency still not to really believe my intuition always fully. But then afterwards, talking with Michael, Michael kind of had the same information, and I really think that's how it is. And since he has passed on the days afterwards and the weeks afterwards until today, but especially the first week, he was kind of, he still is very present in my heart, but like the first week I felt him coming into my heart, and like places in my heart that were frozen, which I wasn't even aware of they were frozen, they kind of were melting down. I could really feel like unknown frozen places in my heart melting, 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 opening up. It was so powerful. And it still is. I do believe that, and I heard it from many other people, but I can just talk for myself, my own experience, like Barry being so present in the embodied in being in an embodied presence in my life and my heart for the moment, and has brought me the last week so much more love. I'm able to radiate and embody so much more love than I could before. I feel deeply, deeply blessed by him, and the bless is as big as the tears, or probably much. No, it's bigger. There's tears, of course, but the bless is profound, and I'm really curious to see what it's going to bring in the future for me, but for all of us. Carrying him in our heart and allow him to do what he was called to do. That would be it. Thanks for listening.
Wow, that's really heart-opening. And I think this would be a great moment for us to hear and see Barry playing his guitar. Okay. Put that video on, Inga?
Yeah, I can share it. Although things changed, yeah, because I have to have a look again. Michael, because wait a second. I had it ready, but no. Here it is. Enjoy. Wait, sorry.
Only to be with you. I have walked, I have crawled, I have scaled your city walls, your city. 'cause maybe found what I'm looking for. I believe in the kingdom to come, when all of the colors will bleed into one, into one. I'm bleeding. I believe in return to ye, when all of the elements inside of me harmonizing, solarizing, yin to chi, yin to chi, chi to share. Star, teach me how to shine, so I know what's going on in your mind. Star, teach me how to shine, 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 so I know what's going on in your mind. 'Cause I can't take my eyes off you. Can't take my eyes off you. I can't take my eyes off you. So it is like you said it would be. Life goes easy for me. Well, most of the time. So it is.